Now, international aid is sustaining many of Sudan's displaced people and has been vital in the effort to stabilize the country. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton underlined the key role of international assistance in a policy address in Washington. VOA's David Gollust reports the Obama administration intends to give foreign aid the same priority as diplomacy and the military in U.S. foreign policy.
Although Clinton has spoken frequently about U.S. foreign aid, her speech was the first devoted exclusively to it. Speaking at the Peterson Institute of International Economics, the secretary said it is time to elevate development as a central pillar of foreign policy.
We cannot stop terrorism or defeat the ideologies of violent extremism when hundreds of millions of young people see a future with no jobs, no hope, and no way ever to catch up to the developed world. We cannot build a stable global economy when hundreds of millions of workers and families find themselves on the wrong side of globalization, cut off from markets and out of reach of modern technologies.
The Obama administration has already promised to double the non-military U.S. foreign aid budget to $50 billion a year by 2012, and Clinton's speech offered no new commitments. But she said the U.S. Agency for International Development will be rebuilt into the world's premier development agency. She also said the U.S. aid community must rethink strategies to make sure the programs achieve lasting change in recipient nations.
In countries that are incubators of extremism, like Yemen, or ravaged by poverty and natural disasters like Haiti, the odds are long, but the cost of doing nothing is potentially far greater. And we must accept that our development model cannot be formulaic, that what works in Pakistan may not work in Peru. So our approach must be case by case, country by country, region by region, and cross countries and regions.
Clinton paid tribute to two initiatives of the Bush administration, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, which makes grants to countries with concrete plans for good governance, and PEPFAR, the AIDS program, that has provided millions of people, mostly in Africa, with antiviral medications. She also said women must be front and center in U.S. development work.
This is not only a strategic interest of the United States, it is an issue of great personal meaning and importance to me, and one that I have worked on for almost 4 decades. I will not accept words without deeds when it comes to women's progress. I will hold our agencies accountable for ensuring that our government and our foreign policy support the world's women and achieve lasting, meaningful results on these issues.
Clinton said she is working to integrate U.S. aid efforts more closely with diplomacy and defense operations abroad without politicizing aid. She said development, diplomacy, and defense must be mutually reinforcing.
Now, joining me to talk more about the Obama administration's integrated foreign policy is VOA State Department correspondent David Gollust. Now, David, clearly we see that Secretary Clinton wants foreign aid to become more of a long-term investment. Give us a sense of what are the long-term benefits.
Well, that's right. I noted in my report that she held up the Millennium Challenge Corporation idea as a model for broader U.S. aid programs. That program was begun under the Bush administration, and it ties U.S. grant money to very firm commitments by governments for good governance and cutting corruption. Ms. Clinton stressing that the United States wants to see aid more as a form of investment in a country rather than just, the distribution of aid per se.
Now, of course, it's also good to note that the Secretary said, excuse me, that development will be kind of handled case by case, country by country, because some people may think, well, maybe this development is being made in order to help poor countries kind of slide into terrorism. But the fact is that not every terrorist is driven by poverty, for instance.
Well, that's true, but certainly the administration believes that the more stability that can be brought to countries around the world, particularly countries that are now, poverty-ridden in the third world, the more stability that can be established through good governance and through sound running of economy. Yes, not all terrorists are from impoverished backgrounds, but certainly political and economic stability in countries, third world countries, will help a lot.
Now, also the 3 Ds, that is development, diplomacy, and defense is not a new concept. What is it that has led the Secretary to put this more emphasis on U.S. aid?
Well, I think that during the Bush administration, if not in reality, there was a perception that the United States was leading with military force. And since President Obama and Ms. Clinton have come into office, they have been stressing the other Ds, diplomacy and development, much more. And I must say that they're putting some money behind this. The administration intends to double the amount of development aid it gives by the year 2012. It's also very markedly amping up the U.S. Agency for International Development, doubling the number of people they have abroad.
This will also include perhaps adding more funds to U.S. aid?
Adding more, Vincent?
Funding will go
Oh, yes, definitely, yes. Right now, the straight U.S. development aid is about $27 billion, and as I mentioned, they hope to get that up to $50 billion by 2012, okay. So that's a big increase.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. David Gollust, VOA State Department correspondent.